Let's install an SKR board on an old Tronxy and install Klipper firmware as well. Let's do that. Hey guys, welcome back to the corner. It's me, Jeff. I had a bit of a blowout on my SKR 1.4 turbo board. So what I'm going to do this week is I'm actually going to reinstall an SKR board into my other Tronxy that was heavily modified. Now I'm going to use the SKR2 board and we're going to install that, and we're going to actually install Klipper on it too. So we're going to end up having an SKR2 board with Klipper, dual Z lathe screws, the black Tronxy sensor and the glass bed, and also a direct drive on it as well. So I'm going to forewarn you though, this is kind of going to be like a Coles Notes version of this. I'm going to show you an unboxing for the SKR2 board. We're going to show you a few of the differences between the 1.4 and the new board. We're going to we're not going to download and install a Raspberry Pi with the Klipper firmware or anything, because we've done that in the past. But what I will do is show you the configurations you need for the SKR2 board in the Klipper install and update helper. And then we're going to walk through really quick how to make a printer config file by going into Fluid and downloading the examples, and then getting your serial MCU set up. And I'm going to actually kind of share with you my printer config at the very end of this video, okay? So stay tuned. Hey guys, so here's my old SKR board, and I had a bit of a blowout. So I'm actually going to upgrade the SKR 1.4 turbo with a SKR2 board. So why don't we open it up? We'll have a quick look at it, see what it comes with, and do a bit of an unboxing here. There we go. All right, so comes in a standard box, yada yada. Oh, see, do I have a knife on me? I need a knife. Oh, it's not a knife. There we go. All right, that'll work. Okay, so it comes with your communication cable. Oh, my ducky's squished. Oh no. Come on, breathe, ducky. Wonder if I should return it because my ducky's dead. Comes with the board. Board is wrapped slightly now. Now let's open this up. Does it have a tab? Yeah, it has a tab. Sweet. So the comes with a bunch of jumpers as well. No USB card though. The old SKR came with a USB card and the jumpers. So cutbacks, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, so you're gonna need a micro USB card to flash firmware on here. So let's just put these side by side for a minute. I ordered the one with the 2209 steppers. So I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steppers here. A little guide, some jumper cables, some heat sinks. Put those aside for now. Now, what I wanted to show you is, now there's a couple of different revisions of these boards. There's the first revision, the first one they put out, which had a heck of a lot of problems and would actually end up blowing steppers. So I think they recalled those or refunded people. And then they put out revision 2 board. And now revision 2 board has 2 microprocessors that it ships with, okay? So I currently receive the F429. Now this is important when you're gonna flash your Klipper and make your build for Klipper. You wanna build it with the right firmware for the processor, okay? So you're gonna need to remember that red number there. Directly using the F, so yeah. So I'm not doing Marlin, I'm doing Klipper. So we're gonna flash it with Klipper, okay? So one thing of note, with the SKR 1.4s compared to the SKR 2s, for the stepper drivers, here, let me see if I pull one of these out here real quick. Now they had a a bit of a butchery thing with the stepper drivers, whereas if you didn't want sensorless homing, you'd have to cut this pin right here off and then put it in. They've updated that with these, that they've given you, there's two sizes of jumpers in here. There's the small one, there's probably around a 2mm jumper, and I'm guessing about a 5mm jumper. So you want to use the tiniest ones. And in the documentation, which I'm going to show right now, it tells you where to put that jumper if you want sensorless homing or if you don't want sensorless homing, okay? My steppers from this board were all fine with the cut pins, so I'm just going to transfer them over to the new board. See this one here, see the old SKR board has E1, E0, Z, X, Y, and all that, right? ZB, ZA. This one does not, okay? So, you know what we'll do? We'll go like this. It has a bit of a better pinout here. So this is your always on fan right here and right here. These are your always on fans, okay? This is your X, your Y, your Z, and if you're having two Z motors running off of the same stepper, you plug them in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have my second Z stepper coming off of the E1 port here. Okay, so you're going to plug it in there. That way they're going to be independent, as opposed to just running off the same stepper. So you can actually level them independently as well, which is quite nice with Klipper. And I'm going to show you as we move along with this demo here. So yeah, so these are your steppers. You're going to want all 5 of them in. You don't need to clip your pins on this. You just need to put your jumper. I believe your jumper goes here, but I'm going to show that on the documentation as well that I showed earlier. What else we got? You got your power ports over here. Now pay attention to your power, because you got your hotbed here. So it goes negative, positive, then positive, negative. So you double check what side's what before you plug this in and fry your board, okay? That's just a tip. Did they change the wiring from here? No, they did the same thing over here too. But they moved over the heat bed and the DC in have swapped positions. So on this one, the DC in's here, and on this one, it's here. So they flipped them. So just so pay attention to that. Your heater 0 and your heater 1's in the same spot. But what they've done, as opposed to having them terminal in here, you can actually pull these off and then screw in your wiring and then put it back in, which I think is kind of a nice touch, right? That way you can get to it instead of trying to fiddle with it when it's all in and stuff like that. I do like that. So the layout of the boards are a little bit different. Now the main difference I noticed for installing is on the Tronxy, which I'm going to be putting this into, is you have your USB and your SD card, your USB and your SD card, but the new board has this USB as well. So you're going to have to cut a hole in your case in order to get that to fit. Okay. Your end stops are all going to go here if you're choosing to go with censored homing as opposed to sensorless homing. 1, 2, 3. But basically I'm going to install this. I'm going to use the typical Tronxy sensor and the black sensor and the glass bed on here. And I'm going to wire it up. Basically, I'm going to use the exact same mount that I used for my SKR 1.4. You can check out that video. I'll leave a link below in the description so you can see how that was put in. So basically, in a nutshell, I'm going to show you really quick what the wiring was like, and then we're going to go into the computer and show you how to set up your Klipper for it, okay? All right, let's do that. Okay guys, so I really don't want to be poking around inside of this with anything metal, but it's not plugged in and I think I'll be okay. So I just want to go over a few things with you here. So down here we have our heat bed, and then we have our DC in, which is positive and negative. Over here we have our heater block. Okay, that's right here. You can use either one of these ports to use it. I just happen to have it wired into HO1, I believe it is. This is HO0. Down here, we have our controllable pinouts, which this one would be for our heater fan. It's the first one here. The second one here I have going for my hot end fan. And this third one here with the white I have going to the light on the bar. So that's how I wired it. You can wire it any way you want. Just remember you have to change the pin values. Down here, this would be my thermistor for my hot end. And the one beside it here that you can't see that's out of frame is the thermistor for the heat bed. Okay, now I want to show you this. Here, let me just pull these wires aside here real quick. So over here, this is very important. This is for the black sensor. So this is the ground in the middle. And this yellow one here is the signal pin or the signal wire. So it should have three. It should have the power out. So what I've done is I've taken the always on power here. As you see, it's got the one wire going into it. And this is going up to the black sensor. If you don't have the black sensor, you don't need to do this, okay? This is just sending 24 volts. Right here, sending 24 volts up to the black sensor. It's then sending the signal back down as 5 volts because it drops the voltage on the way back. So just remember, if you're using the black sensor, you need to wire a separate 24 volt into the voltage line of the black sensor and have the signal carry back to here. So that's my Z stop. This is my Y stop, and this one here is my X stop. Okay. This one here is my Z, my second Z, my new Z stepper, and that's hooked up to this here. Okay. Those two run in parallel. Or parallel, whatever you want to say. This one controls this one here. Now, a word of note is not only are you going to put the jumper in this area, sorry, this is my old SKR 1.4 board, but you're also going to need a jumper right here to control your steppers, okay? For your 2209s. This will come with 4 on it. You'll need to remove the 3 around here. And if you don't want to cut the pins, you'll need to put your jumper on, okay? Now, so we got that. This is my my extruder. This one goes to my extruder motor. This is my Z. This one goes to the Z on that side of the printer. This one goes to my Z on that side of the printer, right? So there's 2 Zs. They're moving independently. But because of the black sensor, there's a Z tilt function in Klipper that will go to one side, press down, go to the other side, press down, go to the other side, and then it will level your bed for you, okay? And these are simply my X and Y's over here with the corresponding wires going to the corresponding area, okay? And that's pretty much it. And this one here is a stepper fan. I have wired in to, let's dig it out here, right here, the always on pin. Here, you can't see that. Can you see that now? Here, let's see here. Let me scooch this stuff all over. There you go, right there. That's that first pin on that board, okay? And that's pretty much it for the wiring. That was as simple as possible. You might notice I have a small breakout board up here because I'm using the ribbon cable that came with the printer. So I had to purchase a breakout board on AliExpress here. And it's the exact same board on the other side by the extruder. So that is it. So I've done a tutorial on how to install Klipper. So you're going to want to follow that as far as installing it on your Pi. What you're going to need to do for the SKR2 board is you're going to have to build your firmware. So we'll go over that real quick here. You're going to go into Klipper installation and update helper. What you're going to do is go for advanced, and then you're going to build only, and it's going to pop into this menu. Now remember that card you had? It's going to tell you what your processor is. That's going to be what you're going to need to build for. So you're going to build it for an STM32 processor, which would be right here. Then you're going to scroll down to your processor model, which is a 429 processor. So that's right here. So it's still a 32K bootloader. Clock reference is fine. Communication interface is quit. Q prompt for save. Save configuration, yes. And then it's going to build it for you. Once it's done building firmware, you're going to get a firmware built. And then what we need to do is back out of this. Quit. And then we're going to run WinSCP. Could just be a battery problem. Let's just see if I can log in. Yes. Then we're going to go into Klipper and out. And we're going to grab this Klipper bin file. And I'm just going to move it into, and we'll just move it into here. And then once you've done that, you're going to rename this firmware. If I could spell properly. There we go. Firmware bin. And then you're going to put this into your SKR board and turn it on. And it should flash. And if it flashes correctly, it should come back with all in capitals, firmware.cur. So check your documentation to make sure that works properly. And then once you're done that, you're going to, let me see here. Fluid, I'm currently printing. I'm almost done. But if you go into your configurations, now you see how it says config examples here? You can search for your SKR. And this will show you how to set up your printer config file. And we're going to do it for a SKR2. So we're going to download that. Do I have Notepad++? No. So we're going to save this real quick here. I'm going to show you really quick how to start up on this. So in this file, basically it's got all the pinouts for the SKR2 board. So that's already set up, which is great. And it's already set up, I believe, for a Cartesian machine, which is what we have. So this is what you want. Is your MCU, you're going to need to talk to your Klipper. So what we're going to do is we're going to figure that out right now. We're going to go Raspberry Pi. Now the good thing about the lovely internet is that it tells you what you have to do. So if you go into the installation page, it's necessary to determine the serial port connected to the microcontroller. So what you're going to do is you're going to copy this. You go into your PuTTY, and you're going to find out what your serial is. And then you're just going to copy it over. And that is it. Now you should be able to talk to your printer. Now it will give you a whole bunch of errors to start with. So this is my printer config file, and it's probably a bit messy, but it will get you started. So here's my MCU. Now SKR2 board, I had a heck of a time because my hot end wouldn't work, and my my always on fans would not work. So I actually thought I had a bad board. Then I found out this, if you're having those issues, put this in right here. The output pin motor power as PC13 value 1. And then you shouldn't have that problem whatsoever. I've also got bed screws on mine too. So I have that all loaded up here. Hang on, am I at the very top? Yes. So this is the location of the screws on the bed for when you want to do leveling. So that's pretty close for my configuration on how I have it with the extruder head I have on there right now. I also have a safe home, which would safe home to the center of the bed. I am using the black probe on mine, and I showed you the wiring already. So that is all that. Now you'll notice that the offset here is hashtagged out. That's because I'm using a probe calibration for that, and I'll show you those settings later. But yeah, if you read the documentation, you'll find everything you need to know. You can manually adjust your Z probe offset. If you already know it, you can put it in here. If not, it's a good idea to do the probe offsets. And basically, I've got my steppers all hooked up in the appropriate order. Now my Y stepper. Now here's my Z stepper with my 2209s. Now you notice that when you start on their example, it will give you their configuration for the pins for their steppers for where they belong. All right. Now I'm just using extruder 1 for my Z1, and that's all I'm doing. The extruder is all set up. You'll have to play around with your rotation distance in order to dial in your E-steps. And again, this is blacked out for a PDI tune because I manually PDI tune through the software and it saves it. Heater beds here, fans here. Now, I have a fan. The heater, okay, so the PB7 pin is the fan that controls your cooling fan. This is my hot end fan, the PB6, and I actually have my light hooked up into the PB5. So that's the cool thing about this board is it has the 3 individually controlled pins on it that you can use. Because I'm using dual Zs, I have my Z tilt set up here. Now again, these might not be the perfect way to do it, but this is, as I say, got me up and running, so I'll be happy to share this file with you. Virtual SD card, that's that file for that. I don't have a display status, I don't have one yet. I have my bed mesh all hooked up, doing 5 and 5 probe points. I have a cute little G-code macro for a G29 that runs a G28, then it Z-tilt adjusts, then it does a bed mesh. Then the typical pause macros is in here, the resume macros is in here, and the cancel print macros is in here, and the M600. Now here's the save config. This is what I was talking about. So when you run certain things like your bed mesh calibrate, it will save your bed mesh in here. When you do a probe calibrate, it will save your Z offset. And when you do a PDI tune, it will save that in here. So that should be everything to get you up and running with this SKR2. So I've got it to the point of tuning it. I'm trying to work on a print right now, something that's current and relevant, but it seems to be rocking away here. Woke up this morning and I have a bit of a fail, and I think it's on these tubes here. But I'm gonna let it finish and just see, because this is gonna be awesome, and I'll just Note for next time, I need to support those. So guys, yeah, oh crap, Cad Bane. Ah, hang on, I don't have Cad Bane. So that was the project for this week. Here's Mr. Cad Bane, and yeah, it was a fail. I didn't support his breathers, I guess you would call it, but I'll take a couple photos so you can kind of see. Now this is not tuned or anything, this is just getting it up and running, okay? It's not too bad. I still screwed up with the supports on the hat. I need to pull these bad boys out. I don't even have, do I have pliers? Yeah. I'm gonna need a crap load of support pulling, that's for sure. Oh, not too bad, I guess. Here, let's see if we can give the gentleman his hat real quick here. Cowboy's not a cowboy without a hat, right? I can go through a little bit more cleaning up, but so our front and the back, there we go. Mr. Cad Bane. Yeah, I'll clean up the supports a little bit and I'll take a quick little photo, but I also, I got a little anxious and eager. Up to about here, I just basically went double speed, blah, 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 all that, whatever I could do in the fluid interface, I did it just to see that print head go zing, 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 zing. It was kind of exhilarating, a little addictive, I must say. So now that I got it all set up, I'm gonna start tuning it, okay? So let's see here, some housekeeping. Okay, so the links for the SKR board will be down in the description for affiliate links. I also have a Patreon that, hey, if you want to help support me when I burn out a board here and there, please feel free to join that. I'll leave that link down below as well. And what else? Yeah, if you're clicking through the channel and you like what you see or it's been helpful at all, subscribe, like, all that fun stuff, thumbs up and whatnot. If you have a comment on how I did this, how I could do it differently, you have any hints and tips for me, leave them down below, okay? And then until next time, guys, keep on modding. I have a vision next. I had to. I had to.